And there he goes. There he goes. One day I'm labeling him a stalker. The next week I'm going back to the coffee shop and there's no problem between us. What was the weird energy between us? That's totally him. Omar is the name. Well, anyway, I'm psychic enough to realize that we wigged each other out, and Omar doesn't really look like a black guy. Omar looks like an Arab, and he's a big one. So maybe he was meant to see me or meet me. But anyway, people jump to conclusions, and we can see that there was a super moon last week, and now we're at new moon. Today's date is October 30th, 2024. I'm literally going to start reading pages from Dion Fortune in between sets. Basically, the secret to my success of working out more and getting better results at the gym. And basically, I can get a USB extender if I can start wearing a headset so you can hear what I'm saying, even though the audio is on the laptop. But we need to do more of these videos in which I look at the camera rather than the screen. You understand? Here's the book. Okay, and basically, this is the truth, that you basically can be influencing silently your reality around you. And she writes about it in this book, which is why in certain days, when I got a certain charge, the people got to get up when I go in the sauna and flee within 90 seconds of me saying, demons be gone, certain lives matter. Just telepathically. And then if I tune down the light, be less intense, they can sit with me as long as I allow demons to be demons and be accepting that maybe they can too evolve to the Christ consciousness as opposed to the satanic frequency that is now dominant throughout the cell phones, the 5G, and the cars that track you. The very cars that people worship can be flipped off by China when they come for you when the nation defaults on the national debt. Now, don't forget to accelerate and run at 100 miles an hour now that you've been exposed to one of the last good men that exists. Remember to run and remember to accelerate as fast as possible from a good man. That's the only way to make the screaming stop, is to accelerate and run as fast as possible. Keep your windows rolled up and the Bluetooth frequency always on. God bless. Amen. So let's get ready to start flipping through random pages in the book. Let's see. Here we go. There is a matter that's been dominating your minds, whether it's dominated the minds of those who come, making stepping off place. Thus, if you want consecutive teachings, you should fill your minds with the previous communications. However, there is no waste of time in considering the bearing of scholarship amongst the study of the mysteries in general, and in particular the Arthurian legends of which the Grail forms a part. Now, we'll stop a few times and meditate on and provide interpretations of whatever she's saying. So, women of this culture don't like Dion. They like to go in a different direction of going 5D. No, honey, 5G. No, Ascension, 5D. No, honey, 5G. You were looking for a white woman with spirituality, you have to look to 1940s, a woman that was against Nazism. Instead of embracing Nazism, she was against Nazism. She loved spiritual good men. She would be my homie. She would like me. And so she instructs me to translate this into Espanol for the Latin king zombie narco worship retards out there watching too much Netflix. How about the Married to the Mob series? They literally put it in mind control to be into guys that will lead you to hell and bring danger to your household. Scarface, so awesome how Scarface turned out. So awesome. Let's glamorize Scarface. Let's go to page 70 at random, Tarot Deck style. The work of our meditation group, which met on Sundays at November 3rd, and she gives the address. So you think about the address and tap into the ley line energy, which I am now creating this as a ley line. Being guided by her in spirit. 2025 countdown on YouTube. YouTube.com/2025 countdown. Firstly, the teachings and instruction that is given in the lecture. Okay. Now, if I know what I'm saying ahead of time, this will be more interesting, but we're going at random. Okay, the group meditation uses the symbol of the rose-colored rose upon the cross of gold. The symbol of the cross and the rose as a key call and a cavern under the hill of vision as a meeting place. Did you hear that? So she talks about the cross and the rose as a symbol. So if you want to get down with this as a group symbol, we would carry on Dion's tradition. We're not going to modify the symbol. Now, some of you may be hesitant. You're going, I don't know if I want to get down with this. This sounds like magic. I was told by my daddy that we can't deal with that. Now, the powers that be, are already, this butt's for you. Roll it up. They are already weaponizing imagery and magic against your ass through that screen, through the manipulation, through all that screen stuff. They are putting us into mind control. They are hitting us with symbols. They are hitting us with frequencies. They are hitting us with all this. And so we need to also embrace the spiritual symbols. And there's more than one, okay? There's more than one. You have the cross, you have the circle and the dot, you have the proper use of the pyramid, you have the real meaning of the Star of David. Okay, you have the real meaning of the Star of David, okay? And then drawing these spiritual symbols in the air, drawing them on your window, putting them in your bed, not watching horror films in your bedroom, praying on your knees before bedtime. Not that I do that, right? But these are all things that can make the nightmares go away. As far as overcoming the incubus succubus, you know, that is another conversation that maybe we can have at another point in time. But I will say that it's very difficult to silence all sexual activities when the sun is active. Let's get back to the... All right, here we go, right here. Let us remember that in these times of radical readjustment, that it is our duty to follow truth wherever she may lead and to place no barriers in our path, come what it may. Okay? We got chat open, or is this too hot to handle? I want somebody to say something in Espanol in the comments that you're ready for this book to be translated. Because, listen, honey, this is a white woman helping the British fight the Nazis. If you Hispanics are not down for helping your own people, why should I put this out there in Espanol? Now, you know that you can read this in Espanol on your own, right? All you have to do is get the free ebook. You don't have to pay a dime. And you copy paste into Google Translate. And then she will speak to you in a robot Hispanic voice. We just did it last week, did we not? And how many people liked it? How many people disliked it? So you Hispanic ladies haven't shown up yet. You Hispanic men haven't shown up yet. But the haters that don't like me like an Hispanics, they show up and they thumb down. And all the likes are my own. You're welcome. So you Hispanics, you need to get it together. Because the hate of your kind is just going to get ratcheted up. They call the Puerto Rican people garbage. Why do you think I'm not a dummy. I know it's a comedian. I watch the clips. I know it's a comedian. I know it could be seen as taken out of context, but the fact of the matter is he is embedding negative racist thought forms by calling them garbage. And so if someone's going to ask me if I'm Puerto Rican, she doesn't necessarily need to be seen as racist, but that's a warning sign to me that psychically everything I ever thought about things changing would change. Only this time, I'm not walking into this like a victim. Only this time, I see the punch coming before it comes, and when demons know, you know what they're about, you can deflect the psychic attack. You can deflect the paranormal thing when you are armed and you are charged and you know what's coming before it's coming. And I'm going to go even further. Traditionally, when I've been working out and when I'm in the sauna, usually some things happen in my life to push me off kilter. What happened between me and that guy, Kyle Butler, in New Mexico, happened ironically at a time in which I was doing a lot of spiritual work, podcasting, and sauna work, spiritual growth, in other words. So that was the time in which he attacked me, Baird's fault witness, because it was a demonic attack because I was in their neighborhood exposing their workings. I was talking about Rumsfeld. I was talking about this. I was talking about that. I was talking about that. And I may have drawn to me, okay? And so in reflection of what happened, sometimes you can't always resist or fight back when you're being robbed. Okay, and be me resisting and resisting this guy trying to rob me of my camera. He bared false witness against me and said I assaulted him, including his demon-possessed wife from guess where? Portland, Oregon. Are we seeing a pattern here with these Oregon women? Yes, we are. They're damaged. They're so damaged, you might think the whole world is a bunch of satanic women if you actually don't embrace or come across. And the same thing with women here that have never met a decent man because I haven't met them, so they can't be here. So I've asked them to find me. I've asked them one by one, are you against human trafficking? Will you come to my YouTube channel? Are you willing to talk about that? They don't want to. I don't understand how they get off just making money, because there's times in which God allowed me to have excess money and I still couldn't get the drugs I was looking for. I still couldn't get the partner. God gave to me land. God gave to me what would get a lot of men laid. Fitness, wealth, land, these types of things. Land, status, popularity, going on big shows, going on the latest AM talk show, like that's all status stuff. But in the end, if you're super spiritual, it's going to alienate the demonic. They're going to hang around for a few months and they're going to feel ill, which is why I can go on Coast to Coast AM, go on a show. And it was really traumatic to have had that experience to have hit something that felt like the big time, like, wow, I just hit the big time, coast to coast AM. Then the letdown of, oh my God, these people are too stupid to even understand it. It's not stupid alien, fake Bigfoot. It's real shit about the real oppression. It's not poo-poo. It's not a comic book. And that's the level that a lot of these modern conspiracy women are at. They're at poo-poo, QAnon, ooga booga. They can't handle complex thinking. As a matter of fact, the period of reconstruction has already begun. Those archetypal ideas we meditate upon in their primary form as spiritual ideas during the dark hours of the Blitz have now taken intellectual form into the minds of the nation's thinkers, and experts are coming forward to formulate them to practical ends. It will be recalled that this was forecast in the earliest of these letters. The expression of the ideas then given archetypal form is finding an unexpected forum in the pages of the Times. We had faith in the promise made to us by the masters that these things we were meditating upon in obscurity would be broadcast from the high places. So she talks a lot in these books about things that they were doing in secret in meditation, manifesting in the actual media. So a lot of people are afraid of the occult. They all assume it has a dark application. Very few people into modern occult practices, like modern women, want to do anything to fix the world situation, but just use the magical practices for personal growth, making lots of money, and then using basically those psychic gifts for nefarious purposes. And that's the part of it that's sin. That's the part that's sin. It's not sin if you're using pendulum and divinations to help people. The sinful part is just making it to make Lucian money and then giving all that Lucian money back to the New World Order of the system through corporate addiction to Starbucks, to McDonald's. They're letting these corporations and their cell phone bills just siphon. Now, nothing's for free. And think about that. When porn's for free and cell phones are for free and certain content is for free, what is the real cost? Okay. Somebody put some ladybugs here. Nothing's scarier than a spiritual man hanging out at a Starbucks who called the China invasion long before it happened. Who knows what my neighbors think, but it's pretty clear to the people on my block. Yeah, that's the Chinese invasion doomsday guy. Yeah, stay away from him. No, in fact, we'll be back. We'll be seeing you one day. We'll be seeing you, son. Yeah, nice try, buddy. You think people are going to play this game? So you're a prepper. Oh, you have extra water, or you have extra this. I don't got nothing, jackass. Okay. Since our last letter was written and dispatched, the picture presented by the war has changed notably. It is now spread right around the globe and can be justly termed a world war, not a European war, a title which has heretofore been withheld from it, despite the wise words that peace is one and indivisible. Now, to the dumb women in the world that will find this, at present and in the past, any men that may be listening, what is the value of a younger female, other than sexuality? If she can be reached on some level intellectually, what is the value of the young female the other day who came over to me? She is not yet overly contaminated and put under demonic mind control. She's receptive enough to hear me in my high place without trying to impress her, without even giving a fuck that she's listening. She's hearing what's being said, and she is animalistically, magnetically being drawn to me. You understand? Being drawn to me. Okay? And if I see her again, I'll be drawn to her and be like, now, what is it that you're looking for? Are you drawn to me and my energy and me imprinting my energy just through talking to you, hanging out with you, being in your presence? Or do you really want the screen version of me? Or are you a real authentic woman, like I am a real authentic man, and we're just separated maybe by 20 years. You're obviously over 20, but you're young, and your body hasn't been damaged yet by a bunch of bad men. And I watched her, good morning, listen to me, and I've never seen a woman smile like that, listen to my podcast in person. I've seen a few emojis. I've seen people run from me. I've seen all that stuff. I've never actually seen a female smile. And that was a God shot. Like, oh my God, there might be some non-demonic women on this planet. Oh my God, God's showing me this. But it took a long time. It took a real long time. And so all I can say is this mini moon thing is no joke. Now, when I got back today, I gave a certain somebody a big old bear hug. And I'm going to go back and do more of that and stop demanding she say certain lives matter. Okay, can I get an amen? I'm trying to be a good man. I'm trying to upgrade my DNA. I'm trying to stop demanding that she be a fit model. I'm trying to stop demanding, and I want to roll back the negative things that I said. At the same time, I want to leave, but in my time being here, we're not going to burn bridges. Okay? And then I basically said, this is me without yelling, without too much coffee, okay? And there'll be more of this today, okay? And the more I do of that with her, it's going to make me a stronger, better man in dealing with women. And I don't find myself committing adultery as much in my mind. It's less. It doesn't take any special. And then whatever, looking at websites, it's less. Okay, I wouldn't lie to you about pure abstinence, but it's less. And any type of sexual energy that I may conjure up, I'm trying to make it more evolved and add in my version of romance. How about that? There is not this cruelty in my consciousness in fantasy land when it comes to sexuality. But unfortunately, that's the animalistic demon way that a lot of people are at right now. Okay? So we're at new moon, and we're at new moon after a super moon, and shit is just explosive. Right? That's why certain people, they're at the MMA gym. Other people, they're looking for a partner. Other people, they're like, there's an energy, there's a wild energy, and some things are settled down slightly less since the super moon. But there's never been a time in human history where women have been somewhat receptive to what I'm saying. They're not yet emailing me, not one. Okay, and there was one that was emailing me, and I shut off communication with her. She may have been willing to talk to me, but she had led me on many, many times. And being that I do know that she's demonic and she's not of the light, she's just pretending to. And because I will call her out, she's likely to be someone, although I don't have my pendulum now to ask it, to unsubscribe from me forever. Because she knows that she's being called out, and I'm not thinking. So if she's watching me for 10 years, okay, and we're talking about these mind-expanding things, then I would hope that she would be different than the rest. And so if I'm being stressed out or something, and I'm like, listen, we did an interview a month ago, 2 months ago, and the idea was for us to talk, do some sort of a healing session. And the idea is, ultimately, if you're wondering, what's this about? Is this guy trying to have sex? Astrid with some YouTube chick that he found? What is this guy Valis doing? I'm trying to get a spiritual woman to talk to me over video, because we can't get it done in person, other than one person. And I have to really be alpha to get her to meditate. Okay? And basically, I'm going to ask her today, will you sit down with me and just do some deep breathing before cuddle? Basically, I need some form of female contact in a meditative setting. Does that make sense? It's not a sexual thing. Get it together, females. Seriously. I'm jealous and I'm angry when I see you, Emily, and others go to other men for your spiritual work. It will not be tolerated. It will not be tolerated. It will not be permitted when my people brought you yoga and so much more. I've literally got a spiritual current running through me, and you are to come to me, not some other douchebag just because he's taller, to be your pastor. That's bullshit. It will be called out. You are to come to me, woman. When you are looking for answers about human trafficking and your world being turned into hell, you are to come to me. You are not to go to the 12-year-old or the pastor who touches the 12-year-old. But maybe it's better that you ask a 12-year-old what's going on than the pastor. Because these pastors here locally, that is, they don't have it together. Last Sunday marked the commencement of the new tide, which begins to flow with the new moon of the vernal equinox. So what's interesting about the new moon is that is when I went on Coast to Coast, the largest late night show, over 600 stations, the vernal equinox. But of course, the producer, the female, co-opted by the Russian influence, told me to not warn about the Chinese-Russian invasion, which I'm prophetically warning about, which they will traffic women. So think about that. A woman telling me not to warn about the trafficking of women. Now run from it. And don't forget to accelerate. 100 miles an hour. Good man alert. Says a cell phone. Lisa Lyon told me to not warn about what China's going to do to us when they invade. And she is the producer for Coast to Coast. That means they're co-opted at the highest levels. So they'll have women that are working on the dark side that don't care about the snatch and grabs, as these women are married to cell phones and Bluetooth. That is a sin, and God is watching that encounter between us. And I recorded it. I record every conversation with these shady people behind the scenes for my own protection. For my own protection, because this world's so crazy. They'll say, you didn't say that. We didn't say that. You didn't say that. We didn't say that. Oh, yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did say that. Oh, yes, you did say that. And I want to fucking prove it. And Emily Rowan is psychic enough to realize I will be on Time Magazine. I will be recognized. Okay. And so I'm the only person, bro, in America that cares about Dion Fortune and the stuff that is talking about people getting involved in this material and summoning the spiritual forces with the forces of Christ in the event that you know what. Okay, now this book got wet, just like a couple books in the library, but it does not mean that this book is worthless. This book is not worthless. It's only worthless to somebody that cares too much about the physical world. Somebody that cares too much about the physical world who isn't spiritual enough will judge a book by its cover and say that book has water damage without taking time to read the book and understand it. Nobody told me in 2004 that I was ready to start Outside the Box TV. And there's a few people like Rob on the main channel that do want me to lead a monthly guided meditation. So I'm on a 7-day ban from the main channel, but that's just to pull me away from that. And there are people psychic enough to realize that there's just bad energy. And it's not just a few people. It could be AI. It could be this, that, and the other. But there is a funk energy. And without even realizing it, if I put myself out there too much on social media, which Sufi Realities warns against, it can bring a bad energy. We could really update this title to being open rant and reading the Dion Fortune book, so you realize that we have variety here. Now I'll just leave it. If people don't want to listen to me talk about Dion Fortune, then they don't have to. It's not my problem. Okay. Last Sunday, the meditation, the sanctuary is very powerful, one of the most powerful I've ever known. A beam of diamond light came down spontaneously as soon as the elder brethren had come to meet us. And this beam was then directed towards France so that it lay like a barrier right across that country into Africa and seemed to be supporting the Allied armies. Not until the meditation was over did I realize that Sunday was the day set aside for a day of prayer for France. So what I'm thinking is Sunday is a good time to tap into that, Orthodox Christianity loosh, but I don't feel that the church is right for me personally. Bringing books in and talking about different things. Let's see. And then these pages that I'm reading from are letters that Dion Fortune wrote to her followers, such as Letter 34, July 7th, 1940. It was as if we as a nation made ourselves a channel of cosmic law through realization of the spiritual nature of the struggle we are waging. We become the channel for the manifestation of the power of God. And the stars in their courses and sun, as I say sun, because see, I have the knowledge that with the sun, we're powerful. She didn't know that she was doing all this stuff, fighting Hitler from Britain with the power of her mind, using the power of the sun. It wasn't actually put in this book, but we can look back. We could see Hitler, the psychopath, looking at the northern lights going kill, kill, kill. Same thing happening with the thugs in the street. They don't know what's going on, nor do the humans, because they don't have an education. Okay, and they're allergic to the education and the light. Light is education. Light is truth. And this is a world of darkness. Okay, and so they are deliberately holding back the knowledge of the solar flares and how they're manipulating men and women to be aggressive and bloodthirsty, to be involved in passive-aggressive behavior, to influence some men to drink and drive and crash their car, without even realizing that is not the time to F with a man or a woman when the sun is active, when there's the northern lights. We absolutely are affected by it. Homicides, rapes, kidnappings, women stuffed in car. You look at the crime rates, certain types of crimes, even men line themselves on fire. So this is nothing to be afraid of, because spiritual people will explode with knowledge like I am. So the thugs in the street are exploding with rage and lust. At the same moment, someone else is hallucinating that he's returned to Christ consciousness. Someone else in a friggin' foreign language and Yagali Bing Bong is singing in their language, Yagali Bing Bong, some spiritual language that they and only they understand. In other words, every neighborhood needs a Jesus Christ. And the kids get it because they have not been put into the cell phone. But as you give them the cell phone and as they grow older, they will grow further and further from the nice little one. The more and more they're given the phone, the more and more they're put into the screen, the more and more they will hate women. The more and more they will hate God. The more they are exposed to the screen and which is why I'm looking at the camera now, that this is toxic to me. Even broadcasting to my people is now toxic to me. I can't look at you in the eyes. I have to look over here and put on the Bluetooth glasses for not only to prevent insomnia, but to, prevent any potential, as Sufi Realities talks about, supernatural interference from the screen. So again, like a tarot deck, because I don't do tarot, I'm going to another page at random. Since our last letter was written and dispatched, the picture presented by the war has changed notably. Okay, we covered that. So Letter 43. Our meditation this week was conducted of the accompaniment of a dogfight of low altitude immediately overhead and an incendiary bomb next door but one, and we have never had more absolute sense of peace and power. Now, on the topic of that mention of a bombing device, Portland, Oregon, and Vancouver, Washington, and its national news is currently experiencing incendiary devices. Okay, so these things are actually happening. And we have law enforcement getting coffee. And so one thing that I said was said in his presence as he walks by, and then I'll have something loaded for him to say when he gets his refill. And it's basically going to be that, they recently made note of an officer who killed himself last week, and then another officer killed himself. There is no excuse for cops with guns to not know about the obvious solar flare suicide connection, especially since they are responding to domestic calls. So there actually has to be a very special from me to them, either video and or blog, message to law enforcement on the significance of solar flares, message to law enforcement on significance of therapy. All right. So it'll be like that in 5, 4, 3, 2. So when I have time, there'll be the message to law enforcement blog on the knowing why solar flares are important and why the officer killed himself last week, and the one in Colorado went to the Psychiatric Institute, the order to prove with science, more solar flares, more suicides. And so then there'll be the other blog for the psychiatric people. Don't overdrug. It's a temporary psychosis. So each area that I'm trying to reach, when I get time this winter, will have its own unique blog. So I dumb it down and make it simple. Very simple and to the point. What is this relevant for? Thank you very much. God bless. And see, I know I have 15 seconds to truth him. Okay, and there's no officer in America being truth about the solar flares. Can I get an amen? Good morning to DHF. DFH. We should have more viewers this early in the morning. There should be more chicks taking off their tops. I am still waiting for nude selfies. I really want to, do a cockpit, but it just isn't the right audience for that. You have to be on planet B. But yeah, I totally have ideas for pornography. OnlyFans, holla, can I get an extra sub? Somebody said they were bringing their hot chicks. Where are the hot chicks into OnlyFans? It just proves that the OnlyFans crowd, the pornography crowd, is not spiritual. You really have to be like, just do yourself the sex toy type of a thing. I'm not going to be anti-self-pleasure. Now I understand. It is toxic to have any contact with. It's not sexuality that's the issue. It's crossing the beams with others. Okay, now, have you seen that scene from Ghostbusters? Okay, we're not going to roll clips here because I've already been bounced out of my main nightclub, which is my main channel, 7 days and 7 nights, very biblical. Okay, so here we won't show you the clips, but we'll reference it. Go look at on YouTube. And if you watch in Espanol, watch in Espanol. Not to be insulting, but some people need a little Espanol. Okay, now, you watch that scene from Ghostbusters with all those entities going in and out of that building, and the Ghostbusters cold, and that's what we got to do. We got to go to that place in our minds and spirit where my mother is, because this content's too hot to handle, like the disco song says. Okay, now, but we need to be able to go there in our mind and call in the masters of the inner planes and declare to the demons of that region that you were not to abuse these people. You are not to force these people out of their homes. And who are the demons? There's the conglomerate that owns that building that's going to force out those tenants by letting it turn into New Jack City and letting those women get hurt so they'll leave because they're concerned for their safety. You see, and then my mother told me that she was being harassed by a neighbor of hers, and this neighbor of hers who's threatening her life has inherited a building in which the person died, and he ends up being allowed to stay in this place. And so that's what I'm talking about. When you have demonic people running the show, they allow demonic people to hurt women, and the women look the other way, and they turn their Bluetooth up a little louder so they don't hear what's going on, so they stay in ignorance. So they're not aware that they're sinning by being selfish. Because if you're exposed to the warning that there's consequences of being selfish, you will accelerate and go 100 miles an hour away from the truth. Don't crash. Don't crash. Don't crash. As you run from the God frequency, don't crash your car. as you run from a God frequency. Be calm as you run. There's no threats here. Be careful that Starbucks. They regulate the hell out of marijuana, but it's a free refill. It's a free refill if we get a smartphone. All the coffee we could drink, don't drink more than 2 cups. 2 cup max. El Diablo will take over and cause us to go to war. Oh, here we have another Freddy mask. Freddy mask, it's Halloween. Well, it's like that song says for ministry, every day is Halloween, isn't it? And everybody's freaking out about people destroying these Halloween costumes. I say more power to them. Maybe they're trying to make a point. Oh my God, this person destroyed this Halloween display. Well, what was on the display? Was it a bunch of dead bodies or something? Maybe they were tired of people worshiping demons and Freddy masks. Maybe they couldn't take it anymore. Maybe they see the real reason that these people that took the vax worship men that kill. They worship men that kill. Ha! Wow! They worship men that kill. Take another vax. They worship men that kill. Take another vax. Have we been kicked off YouTube yet? Take another vax. Take another vax. Take another vax. And so literally every time I look up at the news, there are doctors that are finally ending up in the joint. There are doctors so psychopathic that they're ending up finally in the joint. They're finally ending up in prison. Wow. God is great. It's happening. But even if you get away with it, honey, there really is a hell. There really is a God. You are not permitted to kill innocent people and say, you must take this drug. It's not going to be allowed anymore. Okay. There will be a great correction. Okay. It just, every neighborhood needs a messenger to say what you're doing here is wrong. All right. All right. That's good. I'm just getting warmed up here. In order to avoid falling into superstition in occult work, it is necessary to have a clear understanding of the technique that is being employed, which rests upon a psychological basis. We hold our group meditation at a fixed time, 12:15 on Sunday mornings, the hour being chose for its general convenience and for no other reason. So we too will unite around this 12:15. We too will carry around the tradition, 2:15 on Sunday. What do you think about that? So right now is what? Wednesday. We will schedule soon a 12:15 group meditation with structure where we focus on the cross and the rose at the same time. And then we add in a couple basic meditations where I take the bull by the horns and we talk about grounding. We talk about shielding. We do a little circular motion. We do a little kuji kuri and repeat a few mantras. And we bring in that cosmic energy. And once we have that loose, once we're grounded, we do something with it with a thought form. Can I get an amen? That's right. 2025 countdown on YouTube. Meditation commences with the visualization of the many-petaled rose upon the cross of gold. This form of rose cross is chosen in preference to the simplest form, which consists of a 5-petaled red rose on a black cavalry cross standing in the base of 3 steps. Now we're getting a little bit specific, supernatural, and magical. We're going where me and my audience have not gone before. And it's going to be a little scary. It's going to be a bit muddy. It's going to be like that scene from Never-Ending Story where he's looking for Atreyu. Maybe not quite the scene where Atreyu is in the mud, but one in which they're going through the mud nonetheless. We are going through the mud of ADHD, the mud of the monkey mind, of the boing boing, loco, literally hopping from cock to cock and thought to thought to thought, and person, some ladies. Maybe for some men, it's going from porno to porno to porno, woman to woman to woman. The point is that when you're doing that, and they're cording up so many different beings in the bedroom or the porno websites, you're cording up telepathically to all these other people, which is why real spiritual people don't get down with demons, because they put themselves and their energy at risk. And now science is backing that up, that people literally carry the DNA of former lovers with them to psychically attack them with witchcraft. And only now with science, we can show with the actual science that is the real reason some people will seek us out as partners, because they're there to get information on us, to get our vulnerabilities in case we become a threat to the devil, their dad. So you need to understand, a spiritual man is to seek out the spiritual woman. He is not to just, oh, look at this person who just presented herself, her ass, her mouth, her hair, her this and that. No. This is the trappings of this world, of being duped by the pretty pinoches and pussies of the world. You understand what I'm saying? And real good women want me to be me and my authentic self, not kowtow to them if they're liking me and not liking me. They want me to tell it like it is, ultimately, which is why, to get the respect of some people and play the game within, a healthy framework, I got to have a whole new channel, whole new audience members that we're not given all that free data that I've given them for years and years and years, which is why the real reason, not to blame her, but just acknowledge her limitations as a woman of this culture. She can watch me for years and not even email me, only talk in the comment section. You do not get my respect. You do not get my love. You do not get my luge. You can just gobble my luge from the back of the cold room, darkened room that you watch me from on YouTube, in which you don't give back and you don't send Reiki healing, and you sit there and act in ignorance when you say you've actually been watching for years. And so many of you don't read books, you have no education, you hit play, but very little of the content is actually going in your consciousness. Okay? And so you need to basically be talked to like a small child. And you basically have to be taught. Look, I have to take my complex book on solar flares and make a children's book. But you think that children's book is for children? It's for stupid adults that are on their cell phone. We have adults here that need to have shit dumbed down like a child. Like, oh my God, you're like a child. Oh my God, poor baby. And you have to talk down to them like a child. Just be careful. It might turn some of these women on. So we have one viewer today. We have a whole bunch of people that have, I'm not going to title this to be clickbait. This is an exercise. This is me tapping into this, right? It's going to alienate my mother, all these other people. So listen, we can go in telepathically and try to help my mom. But if she doesn't want to help herself out, she can go somewhere else and they'll be evil. She can go somewhere else and they'll be evil, or she'll bring evil to them. And that's the thing. Evil people help out evil people. You find out about these lottery systems or something in America where people that threw away their kids, did this and that, did this horrible thing. They end up in some sort of receivership of some lottery of welfare. And so, you can take the person out of the New Jack City reality and put them somewhere else. They'll bring problems off grid. So my mother's not destined then to find a good man, go off grid, be a homesteader, when that's not what she's all about. Okay. Now, I don't think that the lady is on this channel that came over and talked to me the other day, but if she was, I would say, let's go eat some good Chinese food and talk about reality. And you don't have to watch me on the screen. If you want a real man or a real spiritual guide who isn't going to force you to have sex with him, or force you to read all the Bible, or force you to believe all this, but just be kind to you. I want to see a woman step up to the plate and challenge me and go, I want to be treated with kindness. Now, sometimes it really requires a strong man, a strong spiritual man, to treat a woman with kindness when she's not being very kind and loving. And I'm in that situation now, to where I'm like, okay, I'm going to experiment a little with this nice guy stuff, take it to the next level, ignore the fact that she can't be verbally nice, and realize that she's been so damaged by these men of this community that I literally have to take the incentive of being nice anyways, even though she's being a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like that requires some deep spiritual discipline to accept the shortcomings. And another thing I'll say, spiritual, psychic people should not go to war on each other. You know what I mean? It's not a comfortable situation for spiritual people or people with powers in the mind to be thinking negative thoughts about themselves. You want me to email you? I'll email you. Yeah.
Come on through. We got a family restaurant here in Pony, Texas.
Okay.
And you can find our address on Facebook or Google us.
You want me to come eat or do this there?
You can do either or.
Okay, I'll come. Sure. I'll look it up.
Hey, come on through.
I'll give you my YouTube, but I'll come and eat. All right? You work there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my family owns it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
We're right here in Pony, Texas.
Forney. I haven't been there. I'm from Oregon, but I'll come check it out.
Hey, come on through.
I need to get out of this area and get more into spirit and country. So if that's a good place to go.